It is another incredible Friday. And guess what? You know what that means. It's time for BAM. That is the big agent meeting. I'm your host today, Tony King, Vice President of U.S. Growth. My gosh, do we have an incredible show for you today? We're going to blow your socks off. We're going to knock your socks all the way off, starting at the very top. We have the one, the only, my brother, Ian. You know him. You love him from KGCI. Ian, what you got for us, brother?
Hey there, thanks for checking into the Big Agent Meeting, streaming right here on KGCI Real Estate on Air. Well, you've asked for it and we've delivered. Happening every Wednesday on KGCI Real Estate on Air. We got Wealth Wednesday. For a few hours at the start of each day, we shift gears into real estate investing with tactics from Brandon Brittingham, Chris Craddock, Randy Zimnock, and many other eXp Realty agents that have built long-term income far beyond the next transaction. If you're an investor-focused agent, this is for you too. Listen live at realestateonair.fm every Wednesday, or you can wait to catch it on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. We also got some can't miss content coming your way right after the Big Agent Meeting over on KGCI Real Estate on Air. We're diving into team building. We're bringing you Tuesday's episode of Real Estate on Air Live, where I had the opportunity to sit down with Lars Hedenborg, the founder of Real Estate B School, and we broke down what it really takes to build a high-performance team, from that first admin hire to onboarding systems to a culture that actually sticks. And that leads directly into this week's Friday Focus, where you'll hear from powerhouse coaches like John Kitchens, Randy Berg, Glenn Bill, Ruben Garcia, Stuart Hislop, all sharing proven strategies around recruiting, training, and scaling without burnout and without chaos. So if you're ready to listen, scan the QR code over here and download the always free KGCI Real Estate on Air mobile app for iPhone and Android, or just search KGCI wherever you listen to podcasts.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ian. Always excited to hear from you, brother, and all the incredible work that y'all are putting in at KGCI. By the way, that's free. Free 99. You can get so much education, so much knowledge to grow and improve your business on KGCI. Coming up next, though, we have a brokerage update with the one, the only, Holly Money Mabery in the house. Holly, what you got?
Well, spring has sprung across the nation, and understanding what is going on nationally and then how it impacts our local and our backyard. Well, let's get into it. It makes all the difference in the world. First and foremost, NAR just released their existing home sales snapshot. While March was a little bit down from February, it's nothing to be panicked about, because overall, we're continuing to see new home sales outpace residential resale, but more on that in a minute. Buyer demand, it's remaining solid, which is really great. And we've got about 4 months supply. Some markets you're seeing a little bit higher, like Southeast Florida or portions of like Arizona. But if I'm looking at the Northeast, even the Northwest, my goodness, you guys don't have a whole lot of inventory, which is not surprising. You're just now coming in to your high season. Couple of numbers I want you to know and think about is we've got about 44 million homeowners that have, my gosh, they're under that 6% on their mortgage rate. But what's interesting is we're seeing people make lifestyle choices that are impacting why they're not staying in their house anymore. They no longer are married to that rate. They're actually moving on with their life. And so as a result, when you think of everybody that you sold a house to in the last 5 years, they are probably at that point where a lifestyle change is coming. Maybe they've got a new job, they've got family that is growing, or they've got family that's going to college, taking care of parents. All of those things are now coming to the forefront for them. They're making changes. So it's going to be really interesting, especially with 44 million homeowners in that lower rate change. We are going to see challenges. We are going to see opportunities, and the interest rate, y'all, it's not likely to come down below 6% anytime this year. The Fed is indicating they might come down a couple of points, but it's not going to go below 6. So as a result, what's best for your family to move to your next? And it may not be about buying on interest rate. But on the other side, so many people have equity in their homes that they're paying cash. And that's what's so exciting about what we're seeing. Nationally, cash is king. 21% of the homes, yeah, they sold over list. We are seeing bidding wars. First-time home buyers are making up about 32% of the market, but cash, it's weighing it out. Median home price up a little bit higher so far this year than we thought it would be, which is good, especially for those sellers looking to sell, move on, do those other things. And mortgage applications are up, which is very positive, and that continues to be strong. So you're saying, Holly, well, what is going on? I mean, if all these things are happening, well, let's look at new construction. And this was fascinating when you look at the National Association of Home Builders. They came out and they said, okay, home sales are up about 7% in March, 6% from a year ago. That's great. The demand is really good, especially for anything priced below 300,000, and 300 to 400,000, that sweet spot, demand is even better. So you're just kind of going across the board. But this is what I found so interesting. Builders are dropping their prices or offering significant incentives in upwards of 5% price reductions. That's great for consumers in this market. So for you and I going out and knowing what's available, not just in residential resale, but what's available for new construction is really paramount. It allows us to negotiate better, help our buyers make better choices. And especially if they're looking at, oh gosh, I want this kind of tile, or maybe this kind of countertop or cabinets, those packages, the builders are a little bit more willing to work on. But this is the thing to keep in the back of your mind. We've got all of this tariff talk, and that is absolutely impacting folks. If it does go into effect, the home builders are estimating it will cost construction prices to go up about $10,000 per home. That is something to watch. Again, we're all kind of waiting with bated breath. And at the end of the day, what is best for the client today? Giving them all their options, educating on where they can go and what it looks like. Now, regionally, this is just a really nice update of what we're seeing across median home prices and existing home sales. This is just a really good snapshot. And if you follow NAR Research on Instagram, these graphs are all available to you. They're really good about dropping new information almost every week. And so I love going on there, understanding just at a larger macro, like what's happening, and then being able to go in local and drill it down. Because if you and I are being real, we want to be able to talk to our client directly. And that's where we're trying to package the most for you that we can in your toolkits. We've made some great updates to the toolkit for sellers here recently, and we've thrown the QR code on here for you for all the toolkits, the buyer toolkit, anything, the growth toolkit, looking to bring people to EXP. What I love about the seller toolkit right now is we've got the brand new seller listing package. And what it does is this presentation is completely customizable. It's designed to help you as you're working with the seller, and you can customize. There's multiple different styles of pages that you can fit your personality, the property, whatever makes sense. You can print it out, you can send it to them in a PDF, or you can email it as just a link. All of that is flexibility for you. And it's in the toolkit. It's free to our EXP family. So those are things I want you to think of. Now, I never want to leave you without some quick tips and hits as you're looking at your business. So let's take national and make it local. Keys in a changing market, because I do believe we're in a bit of a shift. We're seeing inventory increase. We're seeing buyers move around, but not necessarily quite as much as we're ready for. So I want you to watch these things as you're looking at MLS comparables as you go forward. Watch original list to sales price. How wide is that gap? What is the difference, especially if I'm going out to take a listing? What is that original list to sales price? Now, the best test, your future comps are always going to be what went under contract in the last 45 days. Those are going to be your sales comparables that the appraiser is going to use when you get under contract. So under contract in the last 45 days, that's your sweet spot. Those are the properties going to be used for sales. And then I want you to always be watching that absorption rate. How many months is it taking to take on all of the houses that you have coming on every market or every month? And then finally, how many days on market from last price reduction to pending? What's been interesting to watch in some marketplaces, especially with significant increasing inventory, is we're seeing that if it's been on the market 20, 30 days, that's okay. But once you hit that 35-day mark and then you reduce the price, is it so stale that people aren't seeing it? So there's some different strategies. Every market is different. Every property is unique. So I want you to be very thoughtful in how you're strategizing with your seller. And that's, again, why I want to go back to the toolkit. we've given you all of these different options to have better conversations. So as you're strategizing, working with your seller, talking them through how to best take care of what they can expect in the future, use the toolkit, ask these questions as you working through your comps in the MLS. And as always, I cannot wait to see you next couple of weeks at the regional rallies across the US. We're going to be bringing some amazing content. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Thank you so much, Holly. As always, a pleasure to have you with these brokerage updates. That's incredible. Speaking of brokerage updates, I've got an update for you all. We are going to be introducing you or reintroducing you, depending on where you're coming from, right? We are going to be talking today about one of our top
Hey guys, this is Terrence Clark, Express Offers Manager. Just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of the platform for those of you who are not familiar. Express Offers is eXp's proprietary platform, connects you, our agents, and their sellers to ready, willing, and able cash buyers. Today, we are joined by Audra Fowler to share how she has leveraged Express Offers in her business.
Hi, I'm Audra Fowler. My business name is Rose Gold Realty Team LLC. Of course, I am brokered by the wonderful eXp. I'm entering into my 7th year of real estate. I actually come from a mortgage background. So I was in mortgages for about 12 years, probably held just about every position imaginable in that industry, and then ventured over to this side of it. Again, now going into in the middle of my 7th year right now in real estate.
Wow. So I know you have a rich history in mortgages and in coming over in real estate as an agent. Tell me a little bit about how you learned about Express Offers and what made you want to be a part of it.
Yeah. So I heard a little bit of it about Express Offers through Workplace, right? So just seeing a lot of posts in Workplace, it got me intrigued. And there were certain webinars about it and things like that. So I started tuning in to see how I could apply Express Offers, into my conversations with my clients, especially with, in today's market. It's definitely not how it was during COVID. So, this year I feel like it's picking up a lot more than last year, but we are seeing a correction in the market, if you will, where homes are staying on the market for a little bit longer than most of us would like. So it was a great tool for me to implement in my conversations with my clients. Doesn't cost them a thing. So it was just that convenience factor, of letting them know, hey, we have a great relationship set up with a multitude of cash buyers. Being able to put your property in front of them to see what they have to offer. It takes a few days, but it costs you nothing to do that. So it's been a great tool for me. And plus, I used to think of it as a tool where it fits, only certain scenarios, which yes, that could be true, but there's especially how quick the offers come through. You never know, so being able to present each and every offer that comes through to my clients, even if they're a luxury client, it just really depends on what their timeline looks like, what their goals are, and so forth. So being able to just have that tool, and it makes me proud. Everything that eXp has to offer, it makes me proud to be able to offer Express Offers amongst all the other wonderful things that eXp has to offer my clients.
No, that for sure. So you answered one of my questions through your intro, but just for clarification, so you would say you're definitely an agent who feels like you're going to put this value in front of all of your sellers. You're not waiting to qualify them. You're just saying, hey, here's something I can offer you. And if it makes sense, great. And if it doesn't, no love lost, for lack of a better word.
Correct. Yeah. I normally snag a few photos after having that conversation with them, of course. And I just let them know, we're going to be waiting on the photographer anyway. So and we have to coordinate with the photographer's schedule. So why not? Why not? It's not gonna, take much of your time. So, just a quick photos just to see what cash offers, have in store for you. So yeah, I usually snag a few photos after having that conversation with them, and they're blown away at how easy it is. And again, they're not losing anything. They're not committed to accepting any offers that come through. And we have the ability to counter as well. So I explain all of that to them as well, that, you're not committed to any offer that comes through. There's offer ranges that come through. Once I'm able to meet with one of the investors, if it is an offer range you want to move forward with, I can meet with one of the, that investor at your home, allow him or her to do a walkthrough. And then once they render their final offer, again, we're still not, committed to that. We can still counter that offer, and you get to choose whether or not you want to move forward with that. But it's a very unique and helpful tool to have that before even placing your listing on the market.
No, I love that. So really quickly to end us off here, what would you say is one takeaway that you would want to give to other EXP agents considering express offers?
Definitely take the course and become certified. Especially in today's market, it can be such a helpful tool for you, getting your listings under contract a lot quicker. I actually have 2 that I've just submitted in express offers before they even hit the market, just to, again, provide those options to my client. It's just, in this market, it'd be nicer to get your listings under contract a lot quicker than what they're going under contract, the time frame that they're going under contract right now. So I would say definitely take the course, get certified as quickly as possible. It's a very helpful tool to have under your belt.
No, thank you for that. And thank you for taking the time to share today. Really appreciate it. And so you guys just heard of how express offers is changing the game for our agents. Faster deals, stronger listings and more opportunities. If you are not using this, you are definitely leaving business on the table. Really want you to take action, get certified, and start your conversations leading with solutions. So please visit our workplace community, Express Offers workplace community, and get certified today.
All right. Yes. Listen, if you are not already certified with Express Offers, you should be doing that right now. Click that link and sign up for the next Express Offer certification. Now, speaking of certifications, speaking of education, speaking of growing your business, speaking of adding things into your real estate business and take yourself to the next level, we have the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Bryon Ellington in the house. Bryon, he's here with our university spotlight. Bryon, who are you introducing us to today?
All right. Thank you, Tony. There's a Japanese proverb: the longer you stay on the wrong bus, the more expensive the return journey will be. Some of us are using the wrong strategies in our business. Either they are not effective enough or they don't fit who we are. We learned it from somebody who did it and had a particular market strategy that was right for them, their customers, their behavioral styles, but maybe not right for us. So let us help you. Come to the EXP University and check out some of the training that we have available for you. So next week, for example, on Monday, we've got the magnificent Leo Pareja and Holly Mabery talking about clear cooperation, getting real about what it means for listing transparency, fair housing, and open market access, kind of outlining the challenges that we're facing right now in the industry from a few, let's say, motivated individuals who are trying to change things for their own benefit at the expense of both agents and our customers. So check that out on Monday. Also, too, on Monday, if you're going to the Cincinnati Regional Rally, and if you are in and around the Cincinnati area, I hope you will go to that rally. I will see you live and in person. I'm looking forward to that. On Tuesday, our friend Renee Rodriguez, who does Amplify EXP, is doing a great session on the neuroscience of influence and presentation. You can check that out at expelevatecoaching.com. under Amplify EXP. That's expelevatecoaching.com. On Wednesday, we have the very first pilot of Fast Cap in Espanol. We've got an amazing group of rock stars from EXP Latino that are going to be putting on the 6 weeks program in Spanish. So if you prefer your training in Spanish, or if you know somebody who does, make sure they go to expuniversity.com and register for that Fast Cap in Espanol session that kicks off next Wednesday, April 30th. Next Thursday, we continue our EXP Masterclass series. If you're not familiar with this, we've had some amazing sessions done by our own EXP executives. Most of us were licensed real estate agents practicing out there in the world, and so we understand what it means to succeed in this business, and we all have our particular specialties. So we've had Glenn, we've had Leo, myself, Susan McLean, too many to mention, but do check that out. It's every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. We drop another one of those. Great sessions. Also, too, on this channel on Fridays, we drop EXP Lab. So we do a lot of research to build out our training, and we sit down with the top agents who are masters at any given topic. And we drop those every Friday. We let you see behind the scenes before it gets into the training exactly what those agents are doing so that you can take their repeatable patterns and go put those into your business. Speaking of Fridays, next Friday, I've got my friend Joe Turco coming on. We're going to talk about bold marketing ideas, open house mastery, and how to scale your business with confidence. So check that one out. And for this Friday on BAM, I sat down with Dillar Schwartz. Now, Diller recently joined us from another company where she was the top agent for them here in Austin, Texas, where I live. She does 268 plus sales and 125 million in volume. And she's going to share how she helps her agents grow with smart systems, coaching, and scalable service without burning out. So please enjoy Dillar Schwartz. All right, Diller, I've been looking forward to this conversation all week. So you and I had a chance to chat a few weeks back, and we were talking about sphere of influence. And I thought the way in which you kind of looked at a database was unique. And I begged of you if you'd come on and share with everybody. But before we do that, just a brief introduction. Those who are not familiar, you are relatively new to EXP, but could you share a little bit about your background?
That is correct. So first off, excuse me. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here and to talk more about this. I love sharing and providing information that I think other agents can use. So my name's Diller, and I'm from Austin, Texas. We service basically a little bit south of Waco, all the way down to San Marcos, Wimberley area. I've been in real estate since 2012. I started out as an assistant, and I've worked my way through all of the positions on a team. And in 2020, I started my own team here in Central Texas and decided to go full-time selling real estate. And then, yeah, like you said, just a month and a half ago, I made the move to EXP. And we are very excited to have all of the new tools in our toolbox and the new community that's been very supportive of our business.
Yeah. And you really are kind of underselling. You are like one of the top teams here in Austin, which is a highly competitive market. So congratulations on all the success and welcome home to EXP. We're glad to have you. So I want to ask you about sphere of influence. Just so people have a sense of the amount of production you do out of your sphere, what would you guess comes out of your database in terms of amount of business each year for you?
Yeah. So we're a little over 50%. And then I know that we categorize referrals versus sphere sometimes, although I'm very connected in the real estate world. And so I think other realtors are my sphere of influence. So if we actually combine them, then I would say really we close about 75% of our business is our sphere. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in that realtor to realtor referral base because I'm very purposeful about building those relationships.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because you have been very successful at that. So can you kind of explain the unique approach that you have to your database and how it maybe differs from what we're all taught about databases coming out of real estate school?
Right. So I think when you get started, we get like over templated. And I say that meaning, there's a template for the first for 12 months, right? Christmas, say Merry Christmas. And then March, send something about March Madness or spring cleaning. And it's just the same content over and over. And now before AI, it was even worse, right? And so that was one of the things I had a hard time processing. I think it was like, depending on where you grew up in real estate, is what I like to call it. You learned a 24 touch or a 36 touch, right? And it was just boring to me. And then when I started realizing in brokerages, 100 agents had the same templates, or we were all going to this website and downloading. And I said, well, how do we make a change? How do we stand out? My friends don't really need to know that it's February is Valentine's. And so that's where it really all started was, how do you take this sort of like superficial or false relationship you're trying to build with emails and get to know your clients and your sphere, as well as the second part of that was, how do you coach them to be your client without putting too much stress on the relationship, where every time someone hung out with me, they were like, oh gosh, Dillar's going to talk about real estate. You need to bring something of value, and you need to bring something to the table. And it doesn't always have to be real estate. And I think for me, I really learned how if I could get people to trust me and bring something like educational, or just really know that my friends, family, and other people in my world could lean on me for solutions, that would be the game changer.
Yeah, you're very much right on. And we're all told, in some form or another, about the NAR stat, right? So NAR asks buyers and sellers every year, and every year buyers and sellers, over 80% of them say that they would use the same agent again. However, they also ask them, did you in your last transaction? And it's more like 11 to 15% actually did. Why? Because agents fall out of touch, essentially, right? And so that's what drives people who are going to try to overcome that, first to just get an automated system that then kind of puts you on some sort of drip campaigns. But then to your point, out of expedience, sometimes we can just let it be the bare minimum. And there's being top of mind, but then there's being top of mind and relevant and valuable. And that's the big challenge for a lot of agents, is how do I create that value in a scalable way? So what does that look like for you?
What I started doing early on was I would watch my emails, and on holidays or specific times of the year, I would watch and say, oh my gosh, I actually got the same content from realtors, from a dentist, like the most random, like from a restaurant. It was like, I can't actually tell the different category because it's Valentine's Day, and everyone, like I said, from everyone I've ever came in contact with, anyone's list that I was on, it was just like, all right, yeah, it's Valentine's Day. Got it. Yeah. But I'm not going to click on anyone. They're simply telling me happy Valentine's Day. So then I went to, well, how can I either get someone to click, get someone to call, or just make it different? So I actually moved away from having so many of the predictable emails, predictable content, predictable touches. And why do you hire someone? You hire someone out of need. Took a deep dive about 3 years ago into the list of the 10 Ds of divorce, diamonds, death, dollars, and all of that, and said, all right, well, how do I actually build rapport with people through that and take these touches so far, like off, or take them off an e-blast and really make them relatable to people. So I started paying attention to social media, right? So if you posted something about your child, I don't know, maybe you have a senior in high school and they're graduating. Cool. I'm going to drop off a gift. I'm going to send something funny about graduation. One of my biggest referral partners in Dallas, her mother was living with her, and she post pictures of moms in the garden. And so I sent her one of those really long, like, picker things that you can get stuff off shelves. And I was like, here, this is for your mom to pick weeds. And then her son is a big sports star and ended up in the hospital, and he's like 12. And I sent sports coloring books to the hospital. So things like that were more important. And when I really started getting the speed on those actions, that's when I realized this is different. And then I took a class once, and the speaker was like, stop sending information about cleaning your gutters, offer to clean them, or send the guy who's going to clean them. Right. And through that, you actually don't have to send an e-blast to 2,000 people and just hope it sticks. You send it to the one person that it'll stick.
And are you purposeful and regimented or scheduled in your frequency of touch with those individuals? And meaning, if I'm one of those 100 to 200 in your database, am I on some sort of reminder plan that says, hey, Diller, it's, April, whatever, you need to talk to Bryon, or are you just kind of, as a habit, do you sit down each morning and go, who haven't I talked to in a while? Like, how do you systematize that?
So Ryan Young, who is the creator of Fellow, one of my favorite softwares out there, he's really big on segmenting your database. And if I've learned anything from him, that would be one of the biggest things that was a game changer for me. And I was doing it to a degree already, which I think made it easier for me to go full in. However, I didn't really know how to explain it. So yeah, my database is very organized of, these 5 people are going to make a move. I know 100% within 3 months. These guys are 3 to 6 months. But then on top of that, I'm very organized with, have they been introduced to a lender? Where are they at in the process? Are we working on credit scores? Are we waiting on a situation, right? Graduation, birthday, I hate to say it, somebody could be really sick, and once something happens, we need to downsize. So understanding those contexts and then actually organize it to your year becomes so less stressful, because I don't really have to look at my database and say, well, oh my gosh, I didn't do the right activities, and so now there's no one closing this month. I can almost predict that, right? And it just makes the year a little bit easier when you segment it that way as well.
Okay. Well, so what are those kinds of strategies that you use to identify potential leads among your past clients and your referrals?
I would say I have been so lucky to have some of the best mentors and sales coaches to really help me understand conversations and motivation and how to break through to get the answers I need to know where I'm going. So I don't have a conversation and you're like, oh, sure, we're looking in 6 months. Well, tell me what's important to you about the 6 months. And, there's so many more questions that I'm going to have, as well as you better bet I'm watching you on LinkedIn. I'm watching you on your social media channels to make sure that that's what I'm seeing, because the last thing I want to do is see you post on social media that you're, landscaping the yard because you're getting ready to sell. And yet I haven't had a conversation with you in the last 5 days. Like, if you're at that point already, then I need to be in that conversation, and you best bet I'm going to deliver some beer to your house and say something funny about, like, here, let me help take the load off on the weekend, or I saw you doing landscaping. Right. And I just have, once again, being unique, like I have 4 or 5 strategies of consistent gifts that I'm giving that are, it's hard. It would be very hard for you to know it's not for me.
Okay. Can you give me some examples?
Yeah. So I'm a big craft beer person, and it's my gig. And if I'll just go to the store and kind of watch and just be like, okay, what all play on words can I do? So almost all my clients get Love Street. Why? I hope you love your new street. If I see someone complaining about a neighbor, I might send a funny, if you don't love the street, hint, hint, give me a call. I have bottle openers with my glasses on them. We send out koozies that say the market makes me drink to clients that we know are thinking the market's really tough right now. I have a yodeling pickle for the dill pickle. Let's make a deal. We've got shirts that instead of burying the St. Michael or St. Joseph, we have shirts that have St. Joseph on them with my name on it that says we're upside down so you don't have to be. So just little things that are my personality. They're really quirky, although they're different than, here's your March Madness calendar. Please put my mugshot on your refrigerator.
All right. That's good. I like that. Well, and you mentioned your agent-to-agent side of things. How does that change when you're cultivating those kinds of relationships? Are you doing a similar strategy, or do you do something completely different?
It's the same. Send it to the office, send it to the group. There's all kinds of ways you can get creative. And if they don't have an office, just jump on a group call with them every once in a while. I can't tell you how many 30, 45-minute coaching sessions I offer to teams or offices just to build those relationships. And I typically get 2 or 3 referrals out of them. Also, I believe in affiliate marketing. And so I get some affiliate codes going and they start using the products that I'm using. And also it doesn't hurt to have them follow you on all of your social media accounts. And then in turn, you do the same.
And how are you meeting agents for that agent-to-agent referral? Is it virtual? Is it in person? A little bit of both?
I believe that you should go to all events put on by your broker, as many as you can. I think that like hyper local, let's just take Austin, for example. You need to know who's on the other side of the deal. Sometimes we let our egos get in the way. And then when you're trying to transact and it's text, you're misunderstanding. And also I want to know that you're active and that you can hold a deal together. That's local, hyper local. And then there's this extended area, right? Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. Those are where my clients are going. And it is, if I'm truly the realtor of choice, the economist of choice for my clients, I'm going to understand those communities and I'm going to have somewhere to send them. And so I network with those agents through, sometimes there's bigger events put on by Texas Realtors or your broker and things like that. That's going to bring you together. So for sure, I'm going to attend those. And then when they're national events, I'm just very purposeful to find people who are doing business at the same level that I am and, or just who are like me, right? Hey, you like this, I like this. Great. I've seen you on Facebook. I'd love to meet you. And then what I do is I just try to schedule coffee appointments. So I may not be in every single class, but you can guarantee that I'm going to leave there having coffee or lunch or dinner with multiple people and trying to create my own subgroups within that community.
Yeah. And most people don't even think about that. But I look at you, I look at my friend Shannon Maxwell. There's been a few agents that I've met over the years that have amassed a huge following of other agents through events and other means that they then leverage for agent-to-agent referrals. And it is an amazing source of income for all of them because so few agents actually do it.
Right. I mean, Austin's a very tough economy, especially right now to be an investor in. And a lot of my clients are investors. And so I have to understand other economies or have that other trusted referral partner because the deal's not dead because they can't invest in Austin. The deal is dead once I can't create a solution to their problem.
Yeah, there's still plenty of people in Austin investing in lots of other markets, Broken Bow and other things like that. Yeah, absolutely. You and I talked about this. Do you mind sharing an example of how you turn maybe one transaction into multiple?
So it's the same, right? We have to build rapport. So if I meet someone, I don't want to just know, are you pre-approved? Have you talked to a lender? Like those basic questions, that is all going to naturally unfold in a real estate transaction. I want to know about you. I want to know, is this forever? Where are you going? Are you here temporary for work? Who do you hang out with? Who do you know? Tell me a little bit about your family. I think we might have discussed, I had one family who happened to be a Zillow lead and they were going to a winery. They just wanted to look at the house really quick. I asked who they were meeting. Their parents were actually like outside. And I was like, no, tell them to come inside. So I ended up selling a house to their parents. They went to the winery. I called the winery. I paid for their drinks ahead of time. And I think I've done, I think we'll be, let's see, 5 here soon.
Wow.
All through just building rapport because what I found out, just being nosy and asking these questions. And I genuinely did care why they were relocating here and no one else was here yet. Well, come to find out the entire family was coming. So I helped their brother, or I'm sorry, the sister, the parents, them. They've now have 4 kids. When we started, they were engaged. So we've sold their first house and moved. Now the parents need a bigger house. Why? Because now when I sold the parents' home, the kids weren't married yet. Now they're married and there's 5 grandkids. So guess who also needs a new house? Grandma and grandpa. And so if they were all willing to move across the country to be next to each other and we didn't have families, I know that they're willing to move locally to have these bigger homes. I know their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so there's that part of the transaction. There's also just really learning how to market your listings to double down and get your name out there. You want the neighbors to know that you're the agent of choice for the area. Yeah.
You talked about analyzing your database quite a bit when we had talked, and you mentioned tools like Fellow. Would you mind maybe sharing, like, when you say analyze your database, what do you mean? What are you looking at and what are you looking for?
So I'm always looking for, first of all, complete context. For me, a complete contact is I have a full name, first and last, and it's spelled right. I have a cell phone. I have an email address, preferably a work and a non-work related, a Gmail, Yahoo, or whatever. And then I want their home address. I don't care if they're a tenant or not. I want their address. And then the next part of that is I want a reciprocal engagement between the two of us. I want them looking at our website, and I want to make sure when I'm sending out emails that I do feel are valuable and they're not March Madness and the funny things I'm making fun of. They're opening them and they're engaging with them. So when I send out batch emails, I am going in and I am checking the reporting. You know, are people unsubscribing? Are they bouncing? Are they clicking? And I don't necessarily need to pick up the phone and say, hey, Bryon, I saw that you looked on my website. I just want to know that you're still engaging with me. And then from there, when I go over to Fellow, what I'm looking at is are tenants looking at the home they're moving into, or they're living in, you know, are they curious? Are they being nosy? Crafting scripts around that, as well as then I'm taking it with our coach and saying, okay, how much equity do XYZ have? My older clients, I am tagging a little bit of age. Are they ready to downsize? I got your parents' information, and from what you said in our conversation, because I'm asking, they've been there 30 years. Whoa, wow, it's a 2-story, 5-bedroom. They've been there 30 years. I might need to do something about that because I'm the next person that, you know, they need to move or whatever. I'm sorry, to downsize. And then I'm also looking at that same data for my investors. Is there anyone that I can help do a seller financing deal with? You know, you just have to think outside the box and look at your data from not just how many people do I have, but what is it telling me?
Yeah. Is that a weekly discipline, a daily discipline? Just when
I would say I do a really good scrub, probably monthly. But it also just depends on the activity, because once you start putting systems into place that are these more outside the box, you'll start. So I can go in and just see how many people end up in the segments, if you will. So if all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, interesting, I've got my over $100,000 equity in this specific zip code, and I just keep seeing that number growing, I might need to do something. I might need to analyze it. You know, I might need to look at it. Or each of our agents have a specific farm area, and we notice a bunch of people are listing in the farm. Well, we need to go back through and analyze that data and see what's going on. So I do let the activities lead me a little bit. And then my goal every day, regardless, is just to scrub 5 people in our database, like really hard personally, and document what I'm doing.
You know, I suspect too, your 5 scrubbing contacts a day is probably a good discipline for most people, because I think a lot of people say mañana, mañana, mañana about their database because they think, oh, I got to sit down and plug in, 1,400 people from my iPhone or whatever. And that is probably the worst way to go about it possible, because then it just pretty much guarantees that the vast majority of us as real estate agents are not going to do that. Right? Sitting down, just doing 5 a day and getting those into a CRM as you're scrubbing through whatever might be in whatever system you're using today is probably a better way of doing it anyways. Plus you get great data going into your CRM, and 5 a day doesn't seem like a lot until you add up the discipline of several days of doing that in a given year.
Well, and I think we feel like as agents, we have to have everyone in our CRM. And if we're talking about your first 1 to 3 years, I don't know that you need the amount. Like, we just started growing our database about 2 years ago. So my team started in 2020. And I would say about 2 years ago, really, I don't even know that it's been 2 years ago, is when we got a little bit more purposeful, because we have better systems in place of adding more mass data and using our database for check-ins and things like that, because the systems were in place. But up until then, I mean, I would say our database was really small, because it was so important to us to have a clean database and really know who do you want in it. If you're just throwing everyone in there because you're like, wow, I have, 2,000 people on my cell phone, go through there and put who you want in there And then I'm going to say pull back the fear a little bit and maybe ask yourself, are you afraid to put this person in your database because you think it's going to bother them? Could you really be of benefit to them? Because I hear that all the time. Well, I don't want to put my aunt in there. Your aunt should want to see stuff from you. She should want to know that you're in business. Now, if it's someone you've made, you've upset or did bad business with or something like that, maybe don't put them in there. However, be careful that you're not putting your own limiting belief around your database.
That's very true. That's very true. And we talk ourselves out of stuff all the time, but you know what people find valuable because you find it valuable. There's information that you learn every single day as a realtor that's valuable to you. That would probably be valuable to homeowners and home buyers as well. All right. Diller, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Bryon. Thank you, Diller. That was absolutely incredible. Did I not tell you we were going to knock your socks off? Didn't I tell you we're going to sweep you off your feet? Well, hopefully we did. Hopefully I kept true on that promise. If we did, we want to hear from you, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, whether you want more. All right. We want to hear from you. We're going to drop this NPS deal here. Make sure that you either click that link or scan that code so that you can let us know. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear from you so that we can make this show better and better and better for you and for your team, for your organization, and for your business going forward. That's it for today. Again, I'm Tony King, Vice President of Growth, signing off from BAM for today. Have an incredible weekend and an amazing week next week.